Class competitors not afraid to mix purpose with passion, whitewater with politics. A new breed of championship that joins top athletes, amateurs, recreational paddle clubs, and commercial river guides. Joining a passion for bubbles with a passion to protect our precious rivers, promote peace, and share in a global family. During the next hour, join us for highlight action as 32 teams from 28 countries compete in 6 events. Downriver orienteering, bring your brain, your lunch, and a lot of luck. The River Rescue event, a flip, teamwork, timing, talent, and pure poetic motion. The raft, cataract, and kayak slalom. All on one of the fastest flowing and most spectacular rivers in the world. It's a frothing extravaganza of free spirits like Africa's Team Zambezi, Australia's squealing Pacific Hedgehogs, former world champions Russian Team Gorky, the oh-so-blonde and buff Norwegian Swedes and Team California, rookie Team Godzilla from Japan, the all-women's team Yofi, or the inspirational Team Daft, chock full of what to others are disabilities, blind, old, paralyzed, yet tough as Tevas. Come on down and join us as we ride rafts in the fishbowl. Welcome to the 4th World Whitewater Championships. Istanbul, cultural crossroads, gateway to the east, gateway to the west. It's where Africa high-fives with Asia. 40 civilizations and 4,000 years of history, from big mosques to Big Mac attacks. And after 2 years preparing, the teams finally arrive for a chance to compete in a championship with no prize money and no shoe contracts. Hello, Hedgehogs.
Hedgehogs have got one theory: you get every gate, you find every checkpoint, and you don't get passed by anybody. And if we accomplish those 3 things, we're happy. We don't give a rat's hairy ass to become last. Or we don't.
Hello, Team Colorado. Send Mom a postcard. This ain't Denver, it's the great grandma of all shopping malls, the Grand Bazaar.
Silver, all are handworking, 925 karat. And this one, silver and gold plated.
The stereotype is Turkish baths and Turkish coffee, so hey, let's check it out.
He wants his mother to take her to a Turkish bath so that she can examine her body and give him the report. That's why it has got a great place in our culture. It's not practiced anymore, very often, but it is still continuing.
It's all right, no time now. Like the voice of the Muslim crier, the river calls. And Gonzo finds the first whitewater. Next up, Erzurum, frontier town 1,000 miles east in the Kachkar Mountains. 1,500 years of neighbor fighting neighbor. Armenians, Azerbaijanis, Georgians, Turks, and Kurds. What do the athletes expect? Turbaned terrorists?
It's nice to think of a river god who's going to protect you through those big rapids. And this is our fellow here. Yummy. Yeah.
In fact, Vincent's actually from the Tonga tribe.
The World Whitewater Championships are organized by a nonprofit clearinghouse for commercial river guides, Project RAFT from Berkeley, California. Their idea for championship: combine athletes, activists, and environmentalists. Take action on behalf of our rivers. Join together to save free-flowing precious whitewater. The result: 3 days of eco-conferences, discussions, and group action inside a 10-day World Championship. Why Turkey? Why here? Well, simple. Championships are more than just sports.
You can be sure that it's not going to be a dam on Coruh River as long as I am in the cabinet.
Turkish Minister of Tourism Abdul Kadir Atiz is just the sort of visionary Project RAFT was hoping to find.
All over the world who have proved that when a group of people work together, have a belief together, want something to happen, that it can.
And all these participants has been the most overwhelmingly warm welcome. They're just the hospitality of these people. They've just opened their arms to the world and taken us in.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Not on your nose. Well, it's still there.
My name is Sergei Zotov. I'm from Rubtsov city. It's the center of world tourism. Siberia, Russia. Understand?
Highlights of the 4th World Whitewater Championships.
Raft guides, it doesn't matter what language you speak, what river you're on, what kind of life jacket you wear. You know, you love the river, you love each other, you love it when you flip and you get to talk about it.
In this bottle is the water of the Colorado, the Ganges, the Biobío, the Zambezi, the Gatun, the Paklare, and many, many more. And tonight we are going to pour this water into this bowl and have the water from many other rivers join it. So we will have 70 or 80 rivers combined, including the Coruh.
The Chattooga River and the French Broad River of the United States.
Amerika Birleşik Devletleri, Kızılçık Nehri.
Rio Pacuare, Costa Rica.
Gatun River, Russia.
Let the championships begin.
The whole idea of the orienteering competition is to somehow mimic an exploratory trip. A group of people going on a new stretch of river that they've never seen before. They've gotten some clues. They've got maps. They've got friends who've maybe done it before and say there's big rapids here, here, and here. There's a beautiful hike here, and they're trying to find their way down river. The difference, though, is, of course, it's competition. There's the element of time and speed involved. So it brings in a whole new element that you normally don't have on an exploratory trip, unless, of course, you're trying to make it to camp before dark or something like that. But definitely, if it's not the most entertaining event, historically it is always the most controversial event.
Controversy did arise as Team DAFT had to contend not only with their disabilities, but also with the failure of the race committee to mark the course in Braille.
No, they ain't useless. No Braille.
Amazingly, they still placed 14th in the orienteering, proving that a raft with a brain has no disability. This is not your neighborhood game of hide and seek. The orienteering course is 25 kilometers of unknown river valley and a Class 3-4 rapid. Each team has exactly 5 minutes to look at the master map with 11 checkpoints to be found. Each checkpoint, a striped pole or paddle hidden from castles to caves. From beside the river to nearly 2 miles away. From hilltops to bushes, finding these checkpoints demands team strategy and eagle eyes. This ain't Kansas, Dorothy. What the competitors don't know is that just like life, the master map is just a little wrong. Several key landmarks, like a bridge and a side stream, are missing. And that's not all that's missing. There is no scale on the map. All you have is topo data and 2 clues. Number 3 is in the dark. Number 6 is a mandatory scout. At least you know there will be white water, and you better bring your flashlight.
From Australia, we're the Pacific hedgehogs. We come here to find all these checkpoints. That's our whole mission in life. We're going to give a rat's area ass if we don't find them until the dark, but we're going to find them. We run. I know.
Как он стремляется и как в него наливается силой бугорок. Он растет, растет. Он уже вне себя. Брат, я
Вот теперь 3 КП. Смотри, вот здесь бегать всем придется, мужики.
Да.
Team Norway. Hey, what's happening?
See you soon. Checkpoint 1 is river left, downriver of a small hill. Unfortunately for Team FOR, Friends of the River, they stopped upriver of the small hill. Perhaps they are also friends of the bushes. Each checkpoint has a number that must be recorded to prove it is found. By placing several dummy markers close to the start, competitors have been fooled into thinking there is an A course and a B course, so they can't just follow each other. Still, this kayaker attempts to follow a Russian mountain goat from Team Kamkabel. Further downriver, checkpoint 3, it is in the dark, 50 meters into the bowels of an old mine shaft. Our cameras were not allowed to set up outside the entrance for fear of giving away this location. Team Nagara is the first of only 7 teams to find this checkpoint. Team Humboldt from California carefully records the marker number. Then rookie Team Godzilla. It can be a bit scary if you don't have a flashlight. The kayaker beats a hasty exit, but returns with a borrowed Bic lighter. Well, flick my Bic. Success comes to the undaunted. Many teams realize checkpoints 7, 8, 9, and 10 form a long run, far from the river. Some teams send their kayakers straight to this run. The smartest teams, like Team California, also leave the kayak for the slower raft to pick up and portage downriver. The raft and kayaker, now on foot, are reunited. That's brains. And you thought rafters wore timberlines because they don't know how to tie shoelaces.
We'll see you later.
No time for this hedgehog. The Aussies are on their way to a 102.29-minute, zero-penalty first-place finish. They're followed by USA's Team Orion Northwest, and in third, Alcor Tumen of Russia. While the top teams sprint for the finish, others enjoy the beauty of the late afternoon sun on the ancient Byzantine castles. A moment of camaraderie. Marco Polo journeyed this same valley while traveling the fabled Silk Road. He wrote about the deep well at a castle at Bayport. After a hard day's competition, a chance to unwind is welcome relief. Tomorrow, time out for the Eco Conference and a well-earned day of rest. Team Nagara's kayaker, who suffered the first injury of the competition, was particularly grateful.
Well, for Japanese, this kind of incident is kind of what you call dishonorable a little bit. So he was in the beginning a little bit ashamed. But because of, all this friendship, he was so happy now.
And I felt, and it was clearly dislocated.
The Eco Conference was designed to be a bridge between environmentalists dedicated to protecting watersheds and the boaters who live and work these rivers daily. The idea is to highlight one river on each continent, share in common goals, and inspire socially active athletes. During lectures, workshops, and discussions, these athletes and activists raft a river of contacts and information. They paddle through recent strategies for dealing with the World Bank, ramifications of an injunction by the Chilean Supreme Court, victories on the Katun River in Siberia, and new horrors like a hydro dam planning to flood the most awesome commercially run rapids in the world at the base of Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. The focus is on action, actions each of us can take now.
Thank you very much.
In a very near future.
Thank you.
Or maybe next.
When we return, the flip rescue competition. It's almost flipper time. A last-minute practice for tomorrow's spectator favorite, the River Rescue event. Get it over, get it back, the task every commercial river guide has to be able to deliver. No matter what river, things can and often will get ugly. If your raft goes 180, someone's got to get it back. In this event, the rafts are required to pick up a swimmer, flip back, while, by the way, going through 3 gates. Meanwhile, the kayaker must complete an Eskimo roll, and then both raft and kayak boogie to the finish, where they must be beanered off. All team members, with their paddles, must grab the candy pole. Day dawns bright and hot. The entire camp gathers by the course awaiting the start. Penalties are 5 seconds for a touch and 25 for a missed gate. Only 2 teams will complete the run with no penalty points. We pick up the action from Scottish safety shark Willie Baxter.
So here are the hedgehogs coming down, struggling with their flipper a little bit. Kayaker bursts ahead. He's got to get through there first. And he's clean. Now they've been smart. They've kept their paddles. And they've managed a clean run. Second of the day. Really good, really good. And fast. Excellent run.
And third.
By 10th of a second? 10th of a second.
By drop paddle!
I'm sorry.
Team Godzilla approaches. How did they get that name?
Of course, we expected to win at least one of the races. But as I came in here and I found all these Western people, all the muscles and, they felt very physically, we were relatively poor. So this is our big challenge. Next time when we come back, we should have all the trainings for physical trainings. We need to have more strong muscles.
Okay, flip!
Oh, they missed the gate. That's a costly penalty. A 2x2 pullback. Now, this is their first international competition experience.
Michael, go! Michael,
For many of the local Turks, one of the most amazing features of this event is not only the competition, but the powerful and independent women who are competing. The headlines in the Turkish press say it all. Bikinis come to the Coruh.
Oh, here it is. No, it says bikini. Bikini, lira, bikini. We say banyo and bikini. Women in bikinis. Turkish team, huh?
A recreational paddle club, Team Philadelphia, has it through Gate 3 with a touch. Uh-oh, trouble. Oh, this baby don't want to turn over. Look up, baby, look up. Only one in the raft. Up two. Now they're headed for the Black Sea. Mayday! Mayday!
So here are Team Sotar. The kayakers way ahead. I think they've actually hit that gate 2 there, so that's 5 seconds penalty. Kayakers zooming ahead. Okay, now here they are, flipping real fast. Look like they're lined up. Some guys swimming ahead for some reason. I don't understand why. And they've gone through clean. Excellent. I still don't understand why that paddler's going ahead. Now they've just got to get the raft back up and get to shore. Everything's been good so far. Only having one guy on the boat to pull it up like that is really hard. Plus the fact it's really shallow in there right now where they are. They're going to have to get it together and get in there in time. I still don't understand why that guy swam ahead. Oh yeah, I do. That's just to make it a bit faster. That's him out now and he's not having to think about it. He doesn't have to get back in the raft. That saves a bit of time. Quite clever.
Wow, look at that. The only team to use a throw bag assist. Beautiful toss.
It's actually, the current's a bit awkward there. Just, there's an eddy line and it kind of pushes them back out, so it's not lining them up for the gate. Best way is to come back over here into this little eddy, the slacker water, flip the raft, and that water line just puts them straight through the gate. They don't have to do any work. So then as soon as they're back through, the team will be sitting there waiting ready, flip it back up real fast and paddle to the finish line. The teams that you see not paddling are going to be too slow. The fastest team are going to be moving fast all the way through the course. Nobody's done it yet.
Because Chuck is here and we got the juice. Revolution, grab a hold of your Chuck caboose and tie your noose. But loose, never fear because Chuck is here and we got the juice. Revolution, 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 revolution.
Okay, so things are looking pretty close at the moment in the competition. And there's Gorky just hit gate 5, gate 2. It's ridiculous. I mean, they're a top-class team and they should never have done that, but... Okay, they're in the eddy line now, out the boat. Oh, real efficient, that's good. There's Capitano up in front, just making sure with his paddle that they're in line. Oh, and they clipped that pole, that's a 5. Kayakers through okay.
Team Gorky, former world champions, struggling a bit in these championships. The entrepreneurial drive sweeping the ex-Soviet Union should reward these ex-military engineers who now make catarafts. But in an ironic throwback to the Cold War, the KGB fears the possible exposure of military trade secrets and prohibited key Gorky members from leaving the former Soviet Union.
Nobody knew anything about Russia. It'd been really closed for a long time, and they finally let people in. It was really a different thing for them as much as it was for us meeting the Western world. Their equipment they had was all homemade. There was none available at stores to buy. So they would stay up at night, they would get what fabric they could, they would sew it up, they would build their boats, but yet they were beating the rest of the world. They opened up and they were able to change and to see more of the world, and they became more lively. It's like their spirits were just set loose like birds. There are a lot more smiles, there's a lot more freedom. They learned freedom. And to me, it's just such a great thing to see the metamorphosis of becoming from this to what the world should really be like, with people making their own decisions for themselves.
Costa Rica. Okay, it looks like they've had 5 penalties on that top gate, gate 2. Now they're coming over to the flat water, lining themselves up. Got themselves lined, but leaving it a bit late here to flip over.
It's the wild and woolly Costa Ricans, hosts of the last World Championship, the Costa Rican Festival, and always strong competitors. Check out that attack finish.
Adelante, adelante, adelante. Pique, Rafa, pique.
I was underneath the boat after the flip, and I couldn't tell if we'd come to the gate or if we weren't, and it seemed like we were upside down forever. But we only hit a pole, which is a 5-second penalty versus a 20 or 50 seconds, so I think we're in there.
Flip. Nobody on the boat when the boat flipped. So very difficult to control the boat through gate 3. And then also difficult to make boat flip right back.
That's going to be the standard place?
Yeah, it's going to be. And then, yeah, we're lucky, not DQ.
It's a British team, disabled crew. They have people in there who have no use of their legs and stuff, so it'd be dangerous for them to do the actual course. So I believe they're going to go through gate 2, come over here into the still water, and try and flip the raft, so it should be quite entertaining. One of the guys in the team is a guy called Dave Tuttle. He was in the sprint team, who was climbing between trees, and his idea was he went up a tree and down a tree, along, up, down. But he got bored with that, and he started jumping from tree to tree, and he missed one and landed, took about a 30-foot drop and landed right on his back on this branch, and it paralyzed him from here down. And here's the kayaker. They're really, really nervous about this whole thing. He'll be disappointed that he fell out of his boat right in front of everyone. He's been practicing that for months. It's one thing in a swimming pool and another thing when you have to do it in front of a couple hundred people. Here's Team California through gate 2 successfully, and the kayaker's rolling over. Oh, missed the stroke. He's up okay. Now that's them set themselves up perfectly. These guys have been training for months for this. These guys are real pros. That's them over, lined up. That's Todd on the back of the raft. He's guiding it through, and they've got it clean. That's a great one. And real fast as well. These guys are like they really want to win. These guys are super fit athletes, like they really mean business. That's a good run. That's going to be really hard to beat. That's clear through 2, clear through 3, and fast.
Team California, digging hard, precision teamwork, showing why they are the team to beat. And they finished number 1 at 135.02.
All right, guys. Yeah.
Next up, the downriver race. Highlights of the 4th World Whitewater Championships. The downriver race is the most grueling of the 6 competitions, 28 kilometers. Dig or be eaten as rafts start at 30-second intervals. Fastest time wins. No strategy, no technique, just grit and a nose for the fast water.
Mendoza, 1:10:58. Number 2, Sotar, 52. And number 1, the Pacific Hedgehog.
For most teams, the awesome beauty was worth the ferocious paddle.
All these castles that we see along the river are probably built during the Georgian and Armenian periods, but mostly Georgians. Georgians had several strong kingdoms here in the 9th and 10th centuries.
I'm 72, nearly 73, and it's my 61st canoeing anniversary year.
Right.
This feels great.
Right.
I am a kayaker, swimming, life-saving, yoga, gardening, you name it, I'm involved. Basically, kayaking is something that you develop and you do it your way. But when you retire, life can be very much milk and honey, if you know what I mean. And to me, I like challenge, excitement, adventure.
Team Daft, these people are so inspiring, I think, to everybody here. They work hard, they're into it, they bring a whole new element of community into our family. These programs work. When you get a group of people together out on a river, our differences kind of dissolve away, they fade away, and you get to what really matters, and that's what we share, our humanity, our planet, and the challenges that we really all face. Team Costa Rica, for me, they're part of the core of this whole rally. I remember from the first time at the Chuya rally, there was a charter flight from Moscow to Barnaul in Siberia, and someone broke out the salsa music, and everyone started dancing. It got out of hand, and the pilots were telling everyone to stop because the plane was shaking, but we danced all the way from Moscow to Siberia. But the Costa Ricans, again, their love of life and their saying pura vida, pure life, is part of the essence of what this is all about. The Norwegians and the Swedes, the world has a lot to learn from the Norwegian people and the Scandinavian culture and their relationship to the earth. A very strong group of Scandinavians made it here, and they're holding the flag for Norway and for Sweden, and for their philosophy of living in balance with the land. This is the first time that we've had any participants, any competitors from Japan, and it's been, again, they've brought it in a whole new dimension. The Japanese, just like every other culture, is completely unique. Their joy and their excitement, they make me smile. And we said, hey, can you put together a team of Palestinians and Israelis as a symbol of why we're all here and learning to live together peacefully? And she said, well, I don't think there's any river runners here. And we said, well, we've got a bunch of guides, we've got a bunch of experienced people. If you can get some healthy, active people who can swim and are into giving it a try, we'll get them on the river. To me, Team Colorado somehow, they're always the most organized. They got it together, and they're all running rivers in all different parts of the world, but somehow Kathy and John have gelled that team. They get articles in all their newspapers, they get local sponsors, and they're together. They make it bigger than themselves. I think that's the key. They go beyond just what's important in it for me, and they make it big for the whole community that they live in Colorado. There's also some old timers who didn't make it this year. It's the middle of the river season for a lot of river runners. It was a real effort. The Amazonkies aren't here. The all-women's team who has always been right on the verge of winning the whole thing, which is for a lot of these gnarly river dudes has been a little bit of blow to the ego. But we miss the Amazonkies. Team Sotar, the people who make the rafts, their team is a mix, and we actually award those teams who have more than 3 countries on their team as embodying the spirit of working together and of global cooperation. You know, certainly everyone is here for different reasons. Some people are here just to paddle hard, some people are here to learn about the rivers and everything in between.
Coming up next, raft, kayak, and cataract slalom. Highlights of the 4th World Whitewater Championships. Of all the competitions, the slalom is the most technical, most prized, and most vicious. 24 gates laced among rapids, holes, waves, eddies, sliders, sheer rock walls, all in a tight, hot canyon. Even before the slalom competition could begin, the river spoke.
One of the American kayakers fell in. Initially the panic was over his boat because it seemed to go down the course. For some reason he was stuck in the eddy on the far side and nobody realised. And it wasn't until a Jeep Bajaj sent across a raft to pick him up that we realised he had a dislocated shoulder. Now he told me that he's done this once before, so we just lay him down, a few other guys helping us, and basically the idea was you just stretch the arm as slowly as possible. You keep stretching the arm. If you stretch it too quickly, then you get muscle spasm and pain, and it makes the shoulder keep dislocated even longer. It took us about maybe 4 minutes of just slow, constant pulling with somebody else pulling up in the armpit. Finally, just a little push in the head of the humerus, and his arm was back in, and he's fine. He managed to walk up that.
The day before, the slalom introduced the hole at 3. Whitewater, polyglot, mood, and motion. You must pay respect when you visit the fishbowl. Project RAFT President Jim Ellison describes the hole at 3 as defiant. Others call it nasty. But forget what the athletes say about Big 3. What this bad boy calls the athletes is lunch. Raft slalom requires a tricky blend of power, speed, and maneuverability. The best of the best are Team Gorky. They prefer 4 powerful paddlers, each controlling a corner. Aggressive pirouettes are their trademark. Others use up to 7 paddlers. Additional thrust, but additional weight.
Well, Californians, I'll be out there, they're on a mission, eh? That's their mission, to get us.
It was the slalom races that determined the world champions. The Aussies enter with a commanding lead overall. Slalom competition consists of 2 runs in each of 3 diverse craft: rafts, kayaks, and cataracts. Raw times plus penalties are added together. The lowest score wins. Penalties are 5 seconds for a touch and 50 for a missed gate. Gates with red poles are to be run as upstreams, meaning the raft goes below the gate and must paddle back upriver. Gates with green poles are run as downstreams. As the teams prepare for the slalom, one question is in everyone's mind: what to learn from yesterday's laundry lesson.
We're going to try to punch through that hole and hope we don't flip. We're just going to
Bonsai. Number 3 looks even bigger than yesterday after it flipped us. We went in with a little too little momentum, a little bit too much of an angle, and it pulled us back in and flipped us. Today we'll be charging it square with all the momentum we can generate.
Team Colorado, as promised, delivered the momentum. But some teams needed a short refresher. Coming up next, raft, kayak, and cataract slalom. Highlights of the 4th World Whitewater Championships. First, the rafts. Buenos dias from Costa Rica.
I am the river and you are the shore, and it goes on and on, watching the river run, further and further from things we've done, leaving them one by one, and we have just begun. We pass by the old willow tree, where lovers caress as we sing them our song, delighting together as we reach the sea. And it goes on and on, watching the river run, further and further from things that we've done, leaving them one by one. And we have just begun, watching the river run, listening, learning, yearning from river run.
After 2 runs, the Hedgehogs still hold on to the overall lead. Next up, the cataracts. Soviet rafting came out of the logging camps of Siberia, a 40-year tradition not tied to the high-tech equipment of the West nor family recreation. These rafters build their own equipment, often hand-sewn, and designed to be carried by one man in a rucksack as they bushwhack their way to wild rivers most of us would consider unrunnable. Since 1989, when Project RAFT and the Soviets first began joint adventures, these Russian-designed cataracts have become some of the hottest new toys of the raft world. Fast, maneuverable, and far more stable than rafts, they are often the TOC, transportation of choice. But the moody Coruh made some choices too.
Rivers have been a metaphor for various facets of human experience throughout civilization, and people have related to rivers because they have sustained life. And rivers run through us metaphorically, we play on them, and we are now learning how to build communities around them and for them. It all sounds like a lot of fancy rhetoric, but when you come and experience it, you know that something real and tangible is happening.
In just a moment, highlights of the 4th World Whitewater Championships. The Yak Attack. With their finish, the Hedgehogs needed only to remain within 5 places of Team California during the final kayak slalom to win the overall competition. Unfortunately, the answer was not. Even though Team California's former U.S. team member Eric Magnuson had a disappointing 6th place finish, Steve Namchong from Australia had 2 penalty-filled runs that left him and the Hogs in 19th. Last year's champions Team California had once again proved to be the World Whitewater Champions. But these championships represent more than one team's gold. They are a testament of the shared interests of ordinary citizens and athletes alike. A wake-up call to be gentle with our precious free-flowing rivers. A 32-nation song celebrating the positive effects that a small group of committed people can have. A thank you to the Turkish people for canceling their hydro plans and protecting the Coruh. The river runners of the world ask you to join them in caring for and preserving free-flowing rivers as we make balanced, tough decisions about growth, power, and pollution. Whether you are an athlete, a recreational rafter, an activist, or a spectator, join us next year for the 5th World Whitewater Championships. Mike Grant summarizes the lesson these championships taught.
So much of it is and always has been the combined ideas of all of these people, and we like the direction that we're going in, and we're not, and we're open. We're open to whatever might come next. We have learned that we do, as a community of international river runners, we carry some political force with us. Every day, most of these people, 100 days a year, have a captive audience in their raft. They can educate these people about what's happening and the reality of what's happening with rivers in their homes and other parts of the world. And the power of a letter and of a phone call and of a fax is becoming more and more evident. We're a political force, and the more we learn how we can have impact on the decisions that are made that affect our lives, I think the more we will get involved in those decisions, and the more we will write letters and empower other people to write letters and to have a say in the way that we treat our rivers and our planet and ourselves.